Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. UFC Fight Night Holloway vs. Allen wrapped up last night. This is going to be my recap show or whatever, video, whatever you want to call it, dude. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, moving our way up. I'm going to try to get through some of the earlier fights as quickly as I possibly can to save time for the main event. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. We are going to start with the very first fight of the night, which was Jocelyn Edwards versus PUDILOVA. Okay, first of all, dude, this might be a hot take. The commentators, especially Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier, who have this habit of talking about absolute nothing in particular while the fight's going on, should really stop scoring rounds openly as they're calling the fights. It's actually extremely irritating. You can say that this was a weird or even a bad decision, but I would not go as far as to call it a robbery. I thought round one was a toss-up if you were looking at the fact that PUDILOVA did not do essentially anything when she got her takedown, and I'm going to prove that to you by going over the stats. But Brandon Fitzgerald, or whatever his name is, saying that is the worst he's ever seen it is insane to me. They were all going nuts, and then they had all of Twitter going nuts. It was actually crazy, okay? I don't understand. I would not call that fight a robbery. I just wouldn't. Round one, total strikes 31-17 in favor of Jocelyn Edwards. Okay, there was the one takedown with 0 submission attempts. The significant strike total for round number one was 17-8 in favor of Jocelyn Edwards. Does nobody remember what happened when she got back to her feet? She was cracking PUDILOVA while she was up against the fence. She absolutely did more damage in that round than PUDILOVA. Okay. Even round two was close. Still, no submission attempts, but we had the takedown. The significant strikes were even, which is how you were actually supposed to score a fight, pardon me. Okay, if the significant strikes are even, you have to move to the next criteria, which was grappling. Well, who dominated the grappling? Well, that would have been PUDILOVA. Okay, round number 2 for PUDILOVA. Done deal. Round number 3, total strikes in favor of Jocelyn Edwards. Once again, 36-33. There was no takedowns. There was a reversal, and the significant strikes were in favor of Jocelyn Edwards, 27-19. Okay, so round number 3 and round number 1 could absolutely go to Jocelyn Edwards. I don't view that as a robbery whatsoever. They even mentioned something earlier or later on in the night when one of the guys, they said something, maybe he should get a takedown to just sort of put a stamp on this round. And Daniel Cormier or Michael Bisping, I don't remember which one it was, they're one and the same to me, dude, when they're together anyways, said, well, apparently takedowns don't win you rounds anymore. They have not for a very long time, or at the very least they are not supposed to, and they have not been supposed to for a very long time. You can't get outstruck on the feet by like a factor of 10 significant strikes, get a takedown at the end of the round, and win a round. It hasn't been that way for a very long time. They should be supplied a copy of the rules and the scoring criteria. They can see the stats, or at least you would think. To me, that was not a robbery, dude. Total strikes, 31-17 in round number 1. One takedown, sure. 17, she outstruck her by 9 significant strikes. The striking department was not even. So we don't even really need to factor in her takedown that she did absolutely nothing with. And if we we can break it down by position. In round number 1, she landed 2 shots on the ground. PUDILOVA did. Jocelyn Edwards landed 5. You know what I mean? She landed 2 shots in the clinch and 4 at distance. She did not do enough work in round number 1, in my opinion, to get given round number 1. I was not angry at that decision whatsoever, but let me know what you guys think, if I'm off there or not. But to me, dude, they need to stop that. Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier are not paying enough attention to be openly scoring rounds like that. And then they totally sway public opinion. And now the entire narrative is that PUDILOVA got robbed and Jocelyn Edwards was given a decision victory. Now, I'll tell you this, dude, I wouldn't have been angry if she didn't get the decision. I would have been like, yeah, whatever, dude. The fat bitch missed weight again. Just 2 times in a row. Stop doing that, okay? Next fight, Aaron Phillips versus Gaston Bolanos was a very fun fight, dude. That was a good fight. Aaron Phillips seems to maybe have a bit of a gas tank issue. There were some moments there where, like, the grappling wasn't extremely strenuous, or at least to the eye, it didn't appear that way. And then he looked just dead after, right? And he was supposed to be the guy that had the edge in the wrestling and the grappling department. But a very fun fight, good win for Bolanos. I don't know how far he'll be able to take things. I know that he fought some pretty good competition over in Bellator, and he did kickboxing over in Bellator. This was the first fight of his MMA career that he has not gotten a finish, and it's not like Aaron Phillips is an extremely high-ranked guy, so, but good performance by him. And yeah, anyways, dude, next fight of the night, beautiful KO from Denise Gomes, who I thought was definitely named Gomez, okay, because she's Brazilian, which they speak Portuguese there, and that just seemed like how you would pronounce her name. But no, she's a gnome without the N. She's Gomes. It's a weird. They kept saying it, and I thought, damn, dude, there's no way they're all getting it wrong. You know what I mean? Bruno Brazil is just way too slow and relaxed, in my opinion. She's treating it like There's a guy striker that she reminds me of, and I could not put my finger on it, but neither here nor there. Okay. If a chick's got a throat tattoo like that, watch out. Guys, don't date her. Don't bring her home to mom. She's scary. Very scary. But it was a beautiful KO by her. But Bruno Brazil keeps her chin straight up in the air, and she was like totally lackadaisical, whereas Denise Gomes was not. And she was going for it, which was weird, because if you look at their, their Contender Series fights, it would almost appear like Denise Gomes won by a decision, whereas Bruno Brazil got a head kick KO. You know what I mean? If you didn't know who, like, you would think that those results would have been opposite. But anyways, good performance by her. Beautiful KO. Too bad she didn't get a performance bonus for whatever reason. I know there were a lot of finishes on this card, but goddamn, dude, good performance. Anyways, ZELLHUBER versus Lando Vannata, or Lando Vannata versus ZELLHUBER. This was a good fight. I said that I thought ZELLHUBER would win by decision 29-28. I believe that was how the scorecards were read. I said that I didn't think he would be able to finish Lando Vannata, because Lando Vannata has never been knocked out. And he's only been subbed twice, and one of them was to Tony Ferguson. So, like, you know what I mean? And also, Lando Vannata, you would think at this point in his career that he is getting older and we would start seeing finishes like that. But as we covered in the picks video, his career's a little deceiving. He doesn't fight very often, so his career's been stretched out over a very long period of time. Now, ZELLHUBER, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be picking him going forward, depending on his matchup. He looked good, don't get me wrong, but dude's putting up rookie numbers, man. He needs to up those numbers. There were a few rounds in there where I thought, just throw like 10 to 15 more strikes, and then you'd be up by you know what I mean? Some of those rounds he was making a little too close for comfort, and I was like, geez, dude, you're young. You shouldn't have a gas tank issue. His coach was even telling him, like, I need you to go throw your this, throw your that. Like, I believe in your capabilities. I need you to. The right hands there, all this stuff. The only round where he threw a lot of strikes was in round 1, and it was after the knockdown, right? So it was all those little, like, punches up against the side of the fence and things like that. But I just kept thinking to myself, like, this kid should be throwing way more than he is. And I thought after that first round that we might end up seeing, like, the same sort of situation in his fight with Trey Ogden. Now, he did enough to win those rounds barely. Round 2 was almost even. Round 3 was also very close, but dude needs to a little bit more output, man. You can't expect that you're gonna find a shot and KO these dudes in the UFC. Lando Vannata's a vet, and you know what I mean. You couldn't put him away. So what do you think is gonna happen when you come up another guy about your age, young and hungry, who throws more? You know, up those numbers, okay? But good performance by him. Good fight also. It was a very fun fight. Lando Vannata's tough as nails, man. That was a fun one to watch. All right, next fight. Jillian Robertson, dude, proving me wrong. I picked the wrong Canadian here, although that one, we'll get to that in a little bit. Forget it, dude. what was her opponent's name again? Piera, whatever. Yeah, Piera Rodriguez. Dude, enough. She did a singular tap, which I understand is not like the traditional tapping method. Usually you would expect to see at least two. Like even Valentina Shevchenko tapping to Alexa Grasso was a slow, drawn-out tap. She even did like two or whatever, at least. This chick does a single tap and then pretends she didn't and tries to continue. She had nothing for this lady on the ground. You know what would have happened in a few seconds had that... And I understand that, you know, the referee's not supposed to make that judgment call. A break is supposed to be the end of the fight, so if she wants to pretend like she wasn't starting her tap, let her get her arm broken. Who gives a shit? Because that's what would have happened. Jillian Robertson was dragging that arm across her body diagonally, and the next step would have been tucking it under the armpit, and we would have seen that thing go pop. And I kind of wish we did, because she made a big fucking stink of it after the fight. Her coaches were like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Let it. And she's like, no, but this is what happened. You watched the replay. You went like this clearly. That wasn't like I grabbed here and then Keith Peterson thought that I slapped or tapped or whatever. That was clearly the beginning. I clearly felt a tap. And I know Jillian Robertson said that she didn't know. She just went till the ref pulled her off. But her arm was going to be broken. She did not have much for Jillian Robertson on the ground. Great performance by Jillian Robertson. I'm not mad that I didn't pick her because it just makes it all the more happy for me when a Canadian does get it done, okay? Because low expectations. Not disappointed this way. So, good performance by her. She got a performance bonus, which was good. Next fight, dude, Zach Cummings. Holy, beat the actual shit out of Ed Herman. That guy, I started thinking like, halfway through the second round, I'm like, do you think maybe the corner should fucking throw in the towel or what? Because that was brutal, man. The stats say he got knocked down 3 times. I felt like it was more. But I'll be honest, I wasn't like fucking keeping a tally. He got almost doubled up on significant strikes, 100 to 54, and he was getting hurt more often than not. The guy fights weird. His head's down, like, he doesn't look like he's looking at his opponent. He looks like he's looking at the ground. And his credit, tough as fuck at 41. Good for him, man. And both of them retire after a long, hard-fought game of bingo, dude, because they're both senior citizens. And it was cool to see Zach Cummings, you know, get to retire in his hometown and things like that. And then Ed Herman, I guess maybe the corner didn't want to throw in the towel if they knew that he was going to be retiring, because that would have been kind of a shitty way to go out. But I thought he took a lot of damage, and like maybe some of it unnecessarily, but credit to him for being tough and not getting finished, I guess. Great performance by Zach Cummings. Next fight, dude, amazing KO from Brandon Royval. I wish I could like the guy, I just don't. I appreciate his fight style, I do. That was a super slick knee. Very, very pretty, dude. Hard to see from certain angles. You couldn't even tell. It was like followed up by a jab or a straight left or whatever it was. Mateus Nicolau did not see it coming, and he was just completely unable to recover, so Brandon Royval just closed the show. Good performance by him. And I know he's screaming for like a title shot. I would imagine if Manel Kape beats Davidson Figueiredo, I would imagine that Manel Kape is going to get the next title shot. Dependent upon, I guess, who wins and how they win against or with Brandon Moreno versus Alejandro Pantoja, but I don't know, man. He looked great. That was a great performance. It was weird, though, because, like, Nicolau was doing his thing early on, right? Like, piecing him up with pretty shit, like, just little tapping shit, staying out of the way. Brandon Royval's throwing a bunch of looping shots, and then all of a sudden, super slick knee comes up the middle. And yeah, man, great performance by him. Next fight. Okay. Crazy. This fight got fight of the night, dude. It was less than 2 rounds long. TJ Brown versus Bill Algeo. TJ Brown looked pretty good to me in the opening round. He was cracking Bill Algeo with some shit, and I think he hurt him at one point too. But I'm going to be honest. I missed the finish because Fight Pass fucked up, and it took me like 5 minutes to try and get the shit working again, which was very annoying. It's a shitty app. They need to fix that. But dude, they should really be putting more effort into that app. They make you pay for it. It's not like it's free. Fix it, you fucks. Come on, UFC. That app sucks. Anyways, yeah, good performance, good fun fight. Bill Algeo tries to, I don't know, talk some shit on his post-fight interview after the fact, trying to like make a name for himself, I guess, or get people talking about him because he called them croc wearing, Uber Eats driving, Bud Light drinking sons of guns or something like that. He gets an A+ for effort, but I don't think that that's really gonna work, especially not at this. I don't think that it was funny, I guess, but you know, definitely was not the same intensity that Colby Covington did his initial heel speech with. Next fight, Clay Guida gets his ass beat, steals the fucking mic because he tricked him, and thought it was a little strange. It kind of reminded me, and I know that it happened in opposite. He waited for Rafa Garcia to have his moment and then did it, but it reminded me of when Macy Barber stole the shine from Roxanne Modafferi after losing to her. I thought it was weird, man, and the only reason why I thought it was weird was because Daniel Cormier was clearly trying to get away, and it not because he doesn't want to talk to Clay Guida. They were rushing shit for up until like the main card. Even maybe like some of the main card. They were like clearly in a hurry. You know what I mean? Dudes were starting their walkouts before the winning team was even out of the octagon from the previous fight. You know, so they were clearly in a hurry. They may have been behind schedule, and they were trying to get shit done. And that was the first thing that I thought. Watching that, I thought, man, they're clearly like, read the room a little. They're trying to hurry. And you faked a retirement, which you probably should have just retired, in my opinion. You looked like shit in that fight. I thought he was going to be able to grind Rafa Garcia out a bit more by shooting more takedowns, which he just didn't do. And, you know, it was a great performance by Rafa Garcia. I'm going to be honest, though, dude. I would like to see a guy like that, young dude like that. You could probably finish Clay Guida. You know what I mean? At this point, you absolutely fucked him up for 3 rounds. I feel like he could have gone for it a little more, but whatever, dude. That's just me. Great performance either way. Don't fake retirements to steal fucking mic time, dude. If you wanted to wish your mom a happy birthday, you should have done a bit more to fucking win or something. You know what I mean? It's just, it was weird. And I thought this before I saw the post-fight press conference, and then Dana White confirmed what I was thinking. He goes, you know, we're running a live show here. Like, I like the guy, he's nice, but we're trying to move shit along. And that's exactly the first thought that I had when he did that. As soon as he said, I tricked you guys, I went, what a fucking weirdo. Anyways, dude. Okay, this fight, I thought, honestly, was a weirder decision than the Jocelyn Edwards-Pudilova one. Yet nobody fucking brought it up whatsoever. None of the commentators had a problem with Pedro Munhoz getting 30-27 over Chris Gutierrez, which is fucking strange, dude. It is strange. And I'll tell you why. This one was a weird one. And I literally don't... I saw a few comments on Instagram, like, bring it up, but for the most part, nobody seems to have a problem with it. And I think it's just because they like Pedro Munhoz, because he's been around for a long time and shit like this. Round number 1, dude, total strikes. And look, round number 1 goes to Pedro Munhoz because of the knockdown. 20-16 in favor of Pedro Munhoz. Significant strikes. He got outstruck. Significant. 14-10 in favor of Chris Gutierrez. Now the knockdown. Good. Done deal. Pedro Munhoz gets that round. Rounds 2 and 3, I thought could have gone to Chris Gutierrez. Or at the very least one of them. You know what I mean? I know it's weird when you start complaining if, like, the right guy won, but the scorecards were incorrect. But I think that it's worth noting because it shows, like, they don't know what the fuck they're watching. And with Jocelyn Edwards and Pudilova, they did not consider control time, right? Because they're not supposed to. Well, they are not supposed to consider octagon control. They're not even supposed to consider octagon control before they consider control time. And I know you guys all know this, but it's worth saying if there's someone new watching. You know what I mean? That's literally the last thing that they are supposed to consider, and that is if all else is even. So Pedro Munhoz moving forward does not win him these rounds. Okay, round number 2. Total strikes 24-20 in favor of Chris Gutierrez. Significant strikes 24-20 in favor of Chris Gutierrez. That means every strike both of them threw was significant, but you know what I mean? There was no knockdown, there was no nothing like that. No takedowns, no nothing. Chris Gutierrez outstruck him in round number 2. Now, yeah, I guess you could argue that Pedro Munhoz shots were doing a bit more, but round number 2 on was kind of mostly like leg kicks and shit. They weren't really... And the crowd booing. Fuck Kansas City, dude. Don't go back there, but I'll get to that towards the end. And round number 3, 39-34 in favor of Chris Gutierrez on total strikes, and then 39-30 in favor of Chris Gutierrez in significant strikes, which means that there was a few jabs in there for Pedro Munhoz, or a few shots that they didn't consider significant. He could have won either of those rounds, or both, but they 30-27'd him. That was a weird decision to me, and I didn't like it. Pedro Munhoz moving forward does not win him these rounds. Come on, dude. Anyways, Tanner Boser, wrong Canadian to pick last night, apparently is able to be knocked out, which is insane, dude, while he's standing up. I don't mean that he's standing and it's a TKO. I mean, he's literally on his way standing up. That was a weird one, dude. Keith Peterson, no standing back up. Fuck the no nonsense shit, dude. Keith, no standing up. Peterson. Stopping fights. Now, the Dominic Cruz one was a little bit different because he was still, like, on one knee. Tanner Boser was literally, like, you could see him, like... it was a weird one. Not overly mad at it, whatever. I thought it was unfortunate, though, because Tanner Boser looked really good physically walking into the cage compared to how he looked at heavyweight. You got the confirmation that he did indeed have extra body fat, like people were telling him, and that he probably could make light heavyweight. He looked great. And then he got fucking stopped in the first round, so whatever, dude, all good. Anyways, okay, next fight. I thought Azmat would use more takedowns against the glory kickboxer Dustin Jacoby, but apparently not. Apparently not, dude. He wants to throw down with him, and he did fantastic. That was a great fight, and very fun fight. And he clearly has a bit of a gas tank issue, but if you look at him, it's not totally understandable. And now Dana White was talking about something at the post-fight press conference regarding these corners. I'm going to save it because I also want to bring it up for Arnold Allen's corner. We are almost there. Next fight of the night, Edson Barbosa. Beautiful KO, man. That was Edson Barbosa of old coming back, which is crazy, man. He totally slumped Billy Q. That was a very slick knee. Like, Billy Q he didn't even realize what happened. But it's weird seeing him be, like, inconsistent like that, because there's been fights he's had against guys where I'm like, you should absolutely beat this guy. But then he doesn't. And then I see him fighting a young dude, up-and-comer, who's, like, tough as nails, grits shit out, and makes people fight through adversity and all this shit. And then, you know what I mean? And he just fucking slumps him. It was beautiful. I loved seeing it. Maybe he's on Paulo Costa's secret juice, like, plan, who knows, program, right? Or maybe it's just a level of competition and Billy Q's not as good as we thought he was, but, man. I mean, I thought it was understandable that Edson Barbosa was the underdog, but he showed us why, fuck you. And you know what? I don't even care when I pick against. I love when older dudes do some shit like that and they show us what's what, you know what I mean? Against younger dudes who aren't quite there yet. Like, yep, sorry, son. Go back, try again. Anyways, main event, boys. Dude, we made it through this in record time. 25 minutes. Phenomenal. Well, main event. I don't want to toot my own horn because I did fuck up quite a few of the other fights on the card in terms of predictions, but I called this one to a T. I said that Arnold Allen would have some success early on, maybe the first, and I think I said the first and about half of the second, and that Max Holloway would just take over from there. Now, Arnold Allen lost that first round, And then he came out like a bat out of hell in round number 2. So it just took him a little bit to wake up, I guess. And then, you know, he won the first half of round number 2. Max Holloway started to do a little bit better towards the end of the round, but I gave Arnold Allen round 2. From then on, I scored it for Max Holloway. I literally said a 48-47 or a 49-46 decision. I'm happy with either one. I guess you could give Arnold Allen round number 5 if you were going to be like the statisticians and not consider that a knockdown, which it most undoubtedly was, in my opinion. And I don't care if Arnold Allen hit the deck at the bell or after the bell or whatever. That punch landed before the bell. Like, that was not an after the horn shot. So I don't know why they're not counting that a knockdown, but all right, dude. Max Holloway, dude, just doing Max Holloway shit. He got hit way less in this fight than he did in other fights. He still had a black eye and things like that, but, you know, good performance by him. Great performance by him. He's literally better than everybody else in the division. It's fucking crazy. It's just Volkanovski. You know what I mean? Volk's just another level. It's like John Jones, Daniel Cormier shit all over again. But, yeah, man. Great performance by Max. I enjoyed watching that. Arnold Allen had moments of success. Like, he didn't by no means just get the absolute shit beaten out of him. Max Holloway's chin is still fucking fine. You know what I mean? And I said that. I said that I thought it would be fine, that we would start to see signs of it before we saw him just get flatline KO. I didn't think it would come that quickly. You know, he's still not been knocked down. And Arnold Allen hit him with some fucking shots, especially in round number 2. Cracked him. And this is what I love about Max Holloway, man. Even though he's been hit in the head that many times, and sometimes he sounds like he might be a little punch drunk, I think it's just the way that he talks. You know what I mean? But he said, they asked him about the shots that he got cracked with, and he said, yeah, that's just me being stupid. Because when they throw their double jab, instead of me getting off to an angle, I go straight back. And then they step in deep and they throw an overhand right or an overhand left, and they get me every time. You know what I mean? So he's already processed and analyzed where it was that he fucked up in that fight, which was good. But this shows us that Arnold Allen is fucking legit as fuck. And I don't know what other featherweight, aside from maybe Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway, or Volkanovski, who will be able to beat him. It was good showing by both men. Very good showing. Now, at the post-fight press conference, Dana White kept saying this thing, man. And it was driving me fucking crazy. He goes, you know, I'm no corner man, and I'm no fighter, but I feel like if they would have told him to do what he did in round number 5 and like round number 3, we might have had a different... Like, he seemed mad that Max Holloway won. And it's like, Arnold Allen didn't even, like, he got knocked down in round... What the fuck? That's why he wasn't doing that for the whole fight. You know what I mean? He was doing that to, like, try to get a Hail Mary, essentially. And he said that, like, multiple times. And, like, with vitriol, too. Like, he seemed like he fucking hates Firas Zahabi or some shit. Firas Zahabi is a fucking mastermind. And, or at least in my opinion, at least in theory, he's very smart in theory, and he's a good trainer. I mean, how the fuck could you say otherwise? But there was nothing wrong with his corner work. You know what I mean? Especially not after round 2. Like, more of that, dude. You know what I mean? Because he won round number 2. It wasn't that Arnold Allen wasn't fucking trying or wasn't going for it. It was that Max Holloway was better. Max Holloway made adjustments. You know what I mean? It was fucking weird. And he kept saying it. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Their cornering was fine. And he did it with Dustin Jacoby, too. And it was like, wait, did you even watch that fight, Dana? Did you not see what happened when he was, like, trying to go for it every time? Now, that one, to be fair, was, like, a little different because he was saying that maybe had Jacoby not... Well, it was round... Maybe if they had realized how tired Asimov was, or... fuck, what's his name, dude? Asmat. If they would have realized how tired he was, maybe he wouldn't have been shooting for a takedown at the end of that round, which is fair. But I think Dustin Jacoby was exhausted. He got dropped a bunch of fucking times. He got hurt a bunch of times more. Like, the guy's trying. You know what I mean? And the corners, Mark Montoya was correct, and, you know, more of what we saw in round number 2. He outstruck him. It was just that he got hurt when he got hit. Because that dude's a fucking monster. He looks like a Daniel Cormier, but with white skin. You know what I mean? Crazy, man. I don't know why he says shit like that. Max Holloway is incredible, and he makes adjustments on the fly. Arnold Allen, he was trying. You know what I mean? That's why it was as close as it was. But fucking weird one, man. I called that fight perfectly at least, so that's good. It made me happy. And I don't want to see Max Holloway. Dude, you know what's weird? There always seems to be a conversation about age with him. You know what I mean? After he lost to Dustin Poirier, which was a pretty bad loss in fairness, he goes, guys, I'm only 28 and I'm still getting better, guys. Guys, I'm only 28. And it seems like he's hit puberty since then. His voice is way deeper. You know what I mean, guys? They telling me I'm old in this, guys. I'm 31, guys. I'm only like literally 2 years older than this guy, guys. I'm only 31. His voice sounds way deeper, way less high pitch. Maybe it's because he's gotten himself a new wife. He didn't seem to have a lady for a long time. So maybe now having this nice pretty lady in his life has boosted his test. I know that he had a kid early on, right? But that was probably with some you know, crack addicted lady, with all due respect. That's why we've never fucking seen her anywhere, and brushes with Max all the time. But it was nice to see him get a victory, man. It's crazy that he can literally beat everybody else, but Volk just causes problems for him. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, dude. It's unfortunate that he's in the position that he's in, 0-3 against the champion, you know? But that was a fun fight, man. I really liked watching that. Arnold Allen has nothing to be ashamed of. He showed us that he is right up there. You know what I mean? I was saying this while I was watching. Aside from Volkanovski, and I mean the Yair Rodriguez fight was a little different because that was like a fucking war. Like, they both got significantly damaged. But aside from those two, he has fought Max the best out of anybody else. And I'm not talking about early on in his career when he fought Dustin and Conor at featherweight. I'm talking about like the Max that we know today. Arnold Allen fought him better than Calvin Kattar by a fucking country mile. Fought him better than Brian Ortega by another one. You know what I mean? He looked great. And he's young, guys. He's only 29, guys. He's still getting better. He's gonna fucking be... He'll probably be champion one day. And he is big also. But yeah, dude, good performance by both of them. That was a fun fight. It's crazy that Max Holloway, only the third fighter in history to reach 7 hours of octagon time, when Clay Guida is in there at 41 years old, and he hadn't hit that number yet. You know what I mean? Guys, I'm only 31. Imagine when he actually is like fucking 40. If he fights that long. How much time he'll have inside that cage. It's shitty that he can't finish, guys. For him. You know what I mean? But unless it's like a fucking doctor or corner stoppage. But either way. Yeah. It was nice to see Max Holloway not get fucked up. But that's it, dude. That's the end of this recap video. Thank you for watching, dude. Like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.